There are days when the heart feels overwhelmed by worries that refuse to leave. You think about your future, your family, your health, your finances, and the countless uncertainties that seem to surround your life. The mind races with questions that have no immediate answers, and the heart becomes heavy with burdens that feel impossible to carry. But amidst all of this, there is one powerful truth that can bring peace to even the most troubled soul. Allah is in control. The one who created the heavens and the earth is fully aware of every tear you hide, every fear you carry, and every prayer you whisper in the silence of the night. Nothing escapes his knowledge, and nothing is beyond his power. The situation that looks impossible to you is easy for him. The door that appears permanently closed can be opened by him in an instant. Worry often comes from believing that everything depends on us. But peace begins when we remember that the one who controls every outcome is the most merciful and the most wise. Your story is not being written by your fears, your problems, or your circumstances. It is being written by Allah, and His plans for you are always greater than the worries that keep you awake at night. One of the greatest causes of worry in our lives is the belief that we must control everything ourselves. We wake up thinking about tomorrow before we have even finished living today. We worry about our careers, our families, our health, our finances, and our future. We carry conversations that have not happened yet, problems that have not arrived yet, and fears that may never become reality. Slowly, without realizing it, we begin carrying burdens that were never meant for our shoulders. There is a difference between responsibility and control. Responsibility is doing your part with sincerity, effort, and honesty. Control is believing that every result depends entirely upon you. Responsibility is preparing for an exam by studying hard and giving your best effort. Control is believing that your entire future rests only on that exam result. Responsibility is working hard to provide for your family. Control is believing that you alone are the source of their provision. Responsibility is seeking treatment when you are sick. Control is believing that healing comes only through medicine and doctors. Many of us confuse these two things, and that confusion becomes the source of our anxiety. We were never asked to control the outcome of our lives. We were only asked to do our best and trust Allah with the results. The moment a person understands this, something changes inside them. The problems may still exist, but the crushing weight of carrying the entire world on their shoulders begins to disappear. Think about how often we replay situations in our minds. We ask ourselves, what if this happens? What if things go wrong? What if I fail? What if I lose this opportunity? What if my plans fall apart? The mind creates countless possibilities, most of which never happen. Yet our hearts react as though every imagined disaster is already real. We suffer through problems twice, once in our imagination and sometimes again in reality. Worry has a way of stealing today's peace without improving tomorrow's outcome. It convinces us that if we think about a problem long enough, we will somehow gain control over it. But there are many things in life that no amount of worrying can change. Worry cannot make tomorrow arrive faster. It cannot guarantee success. It cannot prevent every hardship. It cannot rewrite what Allah has already decreed. This does not mean a believer becomes careless or irresponsible. Trust in Allah has never meant abandoning effort. A farmer still plants seeds, even though only Allah can make them grow. A traveler still prepares for a journey, even though only Allah knows what lies ahead on the road. A student still studies, a parent still works, and a person seeking success still puts in effort. Faith does not remove action. It removes panic. There is wisdom in understanding our limits as human beings. We can make plans, but we cannot control every circumstance. We can work hard, but we cannot force opportunities to appear. We can love people deeply, but we cannot control their hearts. We can try our best to protect those we care about, but we cannot protect them from everything. Recognizing these limits is not weakness. In many ways, it is freedom. The burden becomes lighter when a person says, I have done what I can, and now I leave what I cannot control in the hands of Allah. These words are not an excuse to stop trying. They are a reminder that the universe does not rest on human shoulders. The one who controls the stars, the oceans, and the changing of the seasons is fully capable of managing the details of our lives. Sometimes our worries come from trying to understand everything immediately. We want answers now. We want clarity now. We want to know why certain doors closed and why certain prayers remain unanswered. But life does not always reveal its wisdom in the moment we are experiencing it. Many people look back years later and finally understand why things happened the way they did. The job they lost opened the door to a better opportunity. The delay they hated protected them from something harmful. The relationship that ended made room for something healthier and more meaningful. At the time, all they saw was pain and confusion. Later, they saw wisdom and mercy. Human beings naturally fear uncertainty because we prefer knowing what comes next. But uncertainty does not mean Allah is absent from our lives. In fact, it is often during uncertain times that we learn to rely on Him more deeply than ever before. When every worldly certainty disappears, faith becomes the anchor that keeps us steady. There are people carrying worries so heavy that they struggle to sleep at night. They smile in front of others while carrying storms inside their hearts. Some worry about paying bills. Some worry about their children. Some worry about health problems, aging parents, broken relationships, or dreams that seem to be slipping away. The burdens may be different, but the feeling is often the same. To every worried heart, remember that Allah knows what you are carrying, even when nobody else does. He knows the fears you have never spoken aloud. He knows the tears that never reached your eyes because you held them back. He knows the prayers you whisper quietly because you do not have the strength to say them loudly anymore. There is comfort in knowing that Allah does not expect you to carry what belongs to Him. He does not ask you to control the future. He does not ask you to guarantee success. He does not ask you to solve every problem before it arrives. He asks you to trust Him, to work hard, to remain patient, and to continue moving forward. Imagine a child walking beside a parent through a crowded place. The child may not know where they are going or understand the path ahead, but they feel safe because they trust the hand that is guiding them. In many ways, faith is similar. We may not understand every turn in the road or every delay in our journey, but we trust the one who sees the entire path from beginning to end. Some of the things we worry about today will not matter a year from now. Some problems will solve themselves in ways we never expected. Some doors will open unexpectedly, and some fears will disappear without ever becoming reality. Looking back, we may even wonder why we spent so much energy worrying about things that were always in Allah's control. The heart was never created to carry the burden of running the world. It was created to worship Allah, trust Him, and find peace in His wisdom. The moment we stop trying to control everything and start focusing on what we can actually do, life becomes lighter. The challenges may remain, but they no longer own us. We continue taking responsibility for our actions while remembering that the outcomes belong to Allah alone. That balance between effort and trust is where true peace begins to grow, even in the middle of uncertainty, and even in the middle of storms that have not yet passed. Life has a way of confronting us with situations that remind us how little control we truly have. One day everything seems stable and predictable, and the next day a single phone call, a sudden change, or an unexpected hardship can alter the direction of our lives completely. It is in these moments that the heart begins searching for something solid to hold on to. For many people, uncertainty becomes a source of fear because they believe peace can only exist when every question has an answer and every problem has a solution. Yet one of the greatest lessons faith teaches us is that peace does not come from having complete control over life. Peace comes from trusting the one who does. Human beings naturally crave certainty. We want to know what our future will look like. We want guarantees that our plans will succeed, that our loved ones will remain safe, and that the difficulties we face today will eventually disappear. When life refuses to provide those guarantees, worry often fills the empty spaces where certainty once existed. The mind begins creating endless possibilities and worst-case scenarios. We start preparing ourselves emotionally for disasters that may never happen. We lose today's peace because of tomorrow's possibilities. There is a reason worry can become so exhausting. The human heart was not designed to carry the burden of the unknown by itself. It was designed to rely on Allah during moments when answers are unavailable and the path ahead is unclear. Trust in Allah is not simply a comforting phrase repeated during difficult times. It is a way of viewing life itself. It is believing that even when circumstances appear chaotic, there is still wisdom behind what we cannot understand. Many people assume that trusting Allah means never feeling afraid or never feeling uncertain. The reality is very different. Fear is a natural human emotion. Even the strongest believers experience moments of worry and sadness. Trust in Allah does not remove emotions. It changes how we respond to them. Instead of allowing fear to control our decisions, we place that fear before Allah and continue moving forward. Imagine standing in the middle of a thick fog. You cannot see what lies ahead of you more than a few steps away. The uncertainty makes you nervous because your eyes cannot confirm that the road continues safely in front of you. Yet, if someone you deeply trusted was guiding you through the fog, your experience would change completely. The fog would still be there, and your visibility would remain limited, but your confidence would come from trusting the guide, rather than trusting your own ability to see the entire path. This is what reliance upon Allah often looks like in daily life. We do not always see where our lives are heading. We do not understand every delay, every hardship, or every disappointment. Yet we continue walking because we trust the one who sees the destination, even when we cannot see beyond the next step. Some of the greatest moments of spiritual growth happen during seasons of uncertainty. When life is easy and predictable, people often become dependent on their plans, their abilities, and their resources. But when uncertainty enters their lives, they discover a deeper relationship with Allah that may never have developed otherwise. Their prayers become more sincere. Their dependence on Allah becomes more real. Their conversations with Him become more honest and personal. There are people who can look back on difficult periods in their lives and say that those were the moments when they felt closest to Allah. They would never choose to relive those hardships, but they recognize that those experiences changed them in important ways. They became stronger, more patient, and more grateful. Most importantly, they learned that Allah remained with them through every moment of uncertainty. One of the greatest sources of peace comes from remembering that Allah's knowledge is not limited by time the way ours is. We only see the present moment. We make decisions based on incomplete information and limited understanding. Allah sees the entire picture at once. He sees the beginning and the end. He knows the opportunities that are coming, the dangers being avoided, and the blessings being prepared. There are times when people become upset because life is not unfolding according to their plans. They become frustrated by delays and disappointed by closed doors. Yet years later, they often realize that what they considered a setback was actually protection. The opportunity they missed would not have brought them happiness. The delay they hated gave them time to grow into the person they needed to become. The road they wanted to take would have led them somewhere they were never meant to be. Trust in Allah allows a person to accept that not every unanswered question requires an immediate answer. Sometimes peace comes not from understanding everything, but from accepting that Allah understands everything even when we do not. This trust also changes the way we view our struggles. Instead of seeing hardship as proof that Allah has abandoned us, we begin to see hardship as part of the journey itself. Difficulties become opportunities for growth rather than evidence of failure. Challenges become reminders to return to Allah rather than reasons to lose hope. There are people carrying burdens that nobody around them fully understands. Some are waiting for healing that seems slow to arrive. Some are struggling financially, and wondering how they will provide for their families. Some are carrying emotional wounds that have remained hidden for years. Some are watching doors close one after another and wondering whether new doors will ever open again. For these people, trust in Allah is not a theory discussed in books or speeches. It becomes a lifeline. It becomes the reason they continue praying when they feel tired, the reason they continue trying after repeated disappointment, and the reason they continue believing in better days, even when current circumstances give them little reason to feel hopeful. The beautiful thing about relying on Allah is that His support is not dependent on human limitations. Human beings become tired, distracted, and overwhelmed. Human help has limits. Human understanding has limits. But Allah's mercy does not become exhausted, and His ability to change situations does not weaken over time. Many of the blessings people enjoy today once seemed impossible to them. The opportunities they now take for granted were once the subjects of desperate prayers. The peace they now experience once felt completely out of reach. If Allah was capable of bringing them through previous difficulties, He remains capable of guiding them through the challenges they face today. The future remains unknown to every human being, but it has never been unknown to Allah. Every tomorrow that causes us anxiety is already within His knowledge. Every challenge we fear is already within His control. Every answer we seek already exists within His wisdom. There is peace in knowing that while we walk into an uncertain future, we do not walk into it alone. The one who created time itself is already present in the moments we have not yet reached, and His mercy reaches places long before our worries ever arrive there.